Greetings fellow cartographers, this is Maslow here with a brand new tutorial on how to make your maps look like something Google Earth might swoon over. Today we're going to be taking a look at layer masks and how to use them to leverage the land texture tile packs that I released in May to bring an ultimate level of realism to your maps. For this tutorial, I'll be using Photoshop, but the concept and workflow for layer masks is going to be the same whether you're using GIMP or any other graphical software. The only difference might be where you move your mouse to find the icons to make it do what you need to do. By the time it's all finished, you'll be able to take something like this, turn it into something like this, using tiles like these. So, let's get started. The first important thing that we need to understand is what layer masks are and how to use them. Luckily, the concept of layer mask is really rather simple. The layer mask provides us with a non-destructive way to decide which parts of the image are visible and which parts of our image are hidden. Once you place a layer mask over your image, everything that we paint in black on that layer mask will hide that part of the image. Everything that we paint in white on that layer mask will reveal that part of the image. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into Photoshop and we'll take a look at how you apply the layer mask to your layers. Once you're in Photoshop, take a look at the row of icons that will appear at the bottom of your Layers tab. There is one that is a rectangle with a dark circle in the center, and this is your layer mask. Alright, now let's apply a layer mask to a layer. All you do, click on the layer that you wish to apply the mask to, swing your mouse cursor down here to the layer mask icon, click, and it applies a white layer mask, which means that everything is visible until you start painting black on the layer mask. Alternatively, if you hold down Alt and click on the layer mask icon, it will apply a black layer mask, which will hide everything on the image until you use white to start painting on the layer mask to reveal the image behind it. And that's it, simple as that. Now let's go ahead and start using this black layer mask that I just applied. As you see, everything is hidden, nothing of this image is visible. We just make sure that we have the layer mask selected. Do not select the image thumbnail and start drawing on that. We don't want to touch the image. We want to make sure that the layer mask thumbnail is selected. We're going to take a brush, just a soft brush. We're going to make sure that white is our foreground color, and then start painting. And as you can see, once we've done some painting here and let go, you'll notice the white part that we just painted on the layer mask is the part that's visible on the image underneath it. And that is it, nothing more to it. You just switch between black and white and you keep painting on that layer mask to show and hide the parts of the image underneath that you wish to be seen or hidden. Alright, now it's the time that everybody's been waiting for, and that's getting into actually making a map. We're going to be taking everything that you've learned about layer masks. I'm going to be showing you all my techniques, all of my tricks, all of my entire workflow, and how I put it all together to get those seamless blending biomes using those land texture tiles. So in the background you see me setting up my canvas. I have an exported land mass, exported it from Wonderdraft multi-plane, so I have it separated from my water layer. You'll see why I do this in a second. It's very important. You need to be able to select that land mass by itself. So you'll see, it's very, very important. But anyway, let's just get right to it. Let's jump over to live right now. Okay, so on my other browser, I have my folder open with all of my land texture tiles. So say this one, we'll drag it over. And I'm just dragging straight from Windows browser onto Photoshop. Keep in mind when you do that, this isn't actually the full size that it's displaying here. If I take the same one, close these tabs up here. If I take the same one and I drag it up here to open up a new image or a new file, new canvas, I copy that thing and I paste it here. So you can see the size difference. This is the real size compared to the smaller size. But I wouldn't suggest using the full size of the tiles, and here's why. Here's 100% right here. As you can see, this looks very pixelated. So you don't want to use these tiles and start texturing at their full scale. They weren't really meant for that. I made them large enough so that when you take them and scale them down to something like this, let me get rid of this here. Then when you look at it at 100% zoom level, it's not all pixelated. So, in speaking of sizes, I need to talk to some of you guys, some of you map makers, you cartographers, you crazy people. You have this insane obsession with creating these massively huge maps, like 8,000 pixels by 6,000 pixels, and that is completely unnecessary unless you're going to print a billboard. Alright, so let's start planning what we want to do here. We'll start with the, let's say this area right here, we'll take this forest. Maybe we can make this a little bit bigger. And one thing, never bring in these tiles and make them bigger than their original size. You're just going to get more pixelated than they already are. So we'll throw this right here. Maybe we'll wrap around this lake a little bit. There. Okay, so here's what we do. The tile is what you want to apply the layer mask to. So we click it. By default, it's white. You could see everything. Now, here's the biggest reason why I always export multiplane with my landmass. Is if I control click the landmass, it selects all the land. That way, when I click on my layer mask, and first thing, I should have just alt clicked, but I make sure that I fill it black so I can't see anything. Well, shoot. Unselect. Okay. So black, then you control click, select your landmass. Click back on your layer and you start painting with your white brush. So when you have your landmass selected, see, you're not going to be painting over the water. And that's essentially, that's the biggest, most important reason why you have your landmass and water separate. And so here, all I have is a soft round brush selected, opacities at 100, and I'm just painting in the area around the lake. And let's see, let's find my edge. It's up here. Okay, so let's say the biggest thing we want is that forest. So, and you don't have to do black first and paint white like I am. You could show the whole thing and then start erasing, because I mean, I end up coming through and erasing these hard edges anyways. Gotta get rid of those hard edges. There we go. Try that. That doesn't look so bad. Let's kind of get rid of that forest part right there. So now we have most of the forest all together here. But let's create another layer. These are going to be my mountains. Yeah, alright, so over here, let's see, I have some big ranges. Really big ranges. Drop this down. Find a good one that I want. This one might work. So let's say this forest ends at this mountain range here. Oh, we don't want to paint it blue. Go over here and click on that right there. It'll set it to black. Let's see, let's try to get the forest going straight in there. Let's make it a little bigger. That's not so bad. Forest kind of ends right in there. Now, we could also take this layer with the eraser tool, soft, on the mountains layer, and we can... Here's one thing I wish the Wonderdraft had a kind of a feathered effect on the symbols, but they don't. So you can kind of get rid of the mountains that end on the edge and kind of feather them in here. Drop the opacity a little bit so it's not so... There we go. Ah, see, perfect. And then you could also, if you notice when I placed my mountains, I actually double clicked. And that's one reason why when I make my mountains, I don't make them that dark, because I like the lighter control. So if you want them light, you can just click once, click twice to get them darker, and then adjust the using the opacity slider. Okay, so that looks good. But now let's texture kind of the mountains. So we'll deselect the landmass. And let's look through some tiles. Let's see, how do we want to do this? Maybe kind of go into some shrublands with not much shrubs. So let's say this one. There we go. So I can shrink it. You can play around with kind of where I want things. We'll say like right here. Put these little shrubs inside this little valley here. So you make it a little bigger. All right, there, enter. And here, let's apply a layer mask. And this time, I'll leave it white. I'll show you what it works like when you, or how it works when you just erase some things. You see, so there we go. Let's check this out. But the reason why I don't do it this way is because you don't have that land mass selected. So that's typically why, you know, see, it's all over the water. You have to erase the right parts. I mean, you could select the land mass, invert the selection, hit delete and all of that. But I just find it's just easier to me if you just make that land mass black. Then you control click on the landmass. Now when you're painting white, you're just getting the reveal. So that's one of the reasons why I do that. And see, I'm at 100%. I'm using that feathered, so it kind of gets, you know, a little bit on top of the you know, temperate areas. There we go, switch to black, get rid of this. That's not so bad. Not so bad. But I also have these other brushes, and this is the pack I think I'm gonna release for June. Where did it go? Forest brush, oh, yeah. See there? Look at that. Alright, so what I would do here is let's click add. Rotate the brush, and it gives like a little, you know, pockets of yeah, I don't know what to call it, pockets of stuff that you can see through. So you can click here, add a bunch, switch it to black, and maybe delete some. Just play around with it. It's all trial and error. Seeing what looks best. See, you got a good mix down here along the shoreline that I like a lot. Then you switch back to white and plug some back in. See, you're getting more of a natural looking blend. Switch back to black. And also, X is a hotkey to switch your foreground and background over here. So when you're using your layer mask, you just had to hit X and kind of add, delete, add, delete. And then, yep, we're just playing around with, and this is just the one brush, so I need to release a bunch of these little textured brushes, but see how that blends pretty well? I like it. And then you switch back to this other template layer, and you could add things the same way. But that looks like a decent blend. But alright, so now let's deselect again. Let's look for like a grassland. Alright, I want one with not much. Well, maybe we do a little bit of foresty stuff on it. Let's take this one. And then over here, sometimes if you're not paying attention to where you're at when you drag the layer, it's going to put it on top of the layer that you have selected. But you can just come through and drag it back up. So, and you can play around with things too. Like, you can see that, look at how that natural blend works. Just putting this underneath the desert. So, you know, maybe I want it underneath all of these. Let's apply the layer mask. See, I tell you the tip about alt clicking, and I never do it. I always just click and then fill it black, but I need to learn to just alt click. That's faster. Now I'll take our brush. Let's go to soft. There you go, and see it's underneath. Oh, see, look, I didn't select my landmass, so what am I doing? I'm painting all over the water. Let's undo all this again. Alright, select my landmass. Now let's get to it. Look at that blend. But of course you could tell, like right here, that's 100% it, that it doesn't seem as natural until you start using like these textured brushes. Let's see, hop over to the forest one. So now I'm using the temperate, I'm on the temperate mask here. Putting that above there. So you could do it that way to kind of get a kind of an interesting blend. Another way that you could do it too is on these soft areas, go back to your mountain layer, find yourself a good good range or something to put on there. Let's see, put those hills there, and then that makes the blend look automatically just way better. I'm just kind of erasing around. And I think I can already tell I want to redo this. Undo all that. I don't like that mountain. So maybe we could do something different. Maybe let's try some land textures. No. Low hills. Let's try some low hills. Oh, see, I got my eraser selected. Switch to brush and try low hills. Let's do that one more time. Let's see, which one is this? Oh, there we go. That looks good. And again, since I have that landmass selected, it's not painting over the water. Let's see. That looks good. Right there. Rotate a little. Yeah. I like that. Get my eraser back to the soft one. Kind of clean up that shoreline, this shoreline. As you can see, it like dips on both sides and makes this ravine. And it kind of looks weird because you have these mountains going up to the shoreline, and so I just clean that up a little bit so everything is flowing down from those mountains. And then of course there's other things that you could do too, like with this grass layer mask I could put a hue and saturation filter on it. Hold down Alt and click the layer beneath, and then it'll just apply to this one, and I can start playing with these colors. So it's like, you know, you can do little color adjustments that way. That's not too bad right there. We're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna. There. Okay, so that looks fine. Let's hop down here a little bit further. So we're gonna go on. We're gonna go underneath the shrublands here, and we're gonna put a more deserty kind of tile here. Boom. Yeah. Do that. Perfect. Let's see. Alt click. Let's apply the layer mask in black this time instead of white, like I always do. Go to my brush. Get off the mountain brush because that's not gonna do much of anything. A little bit. You know, okay. Control click my landmass, make sure that's selected. Go soft brush first, drop down the size. Check this out. Now you got that hard line on the shrubland, so you come up here, switch to your black. Get rid of that hard line on the. Remember, we're always painting on the layer mask, never the actual images themselves. There, looks good. I'm gonna go back to the desert one, get rid of this sharp lines here. Get some more out this direction. And you can also click the actual tile layer that the layer mask is applied to. If you feel like something's too strong and you want something to show kind of underneath a little bit, you can lower that opacity, and it's, you know, picking up some of this background color. But we're gonna leave it like that for right now. Come back in here, switch to my forest blending brush. I'm gonna go to the shrublands layer. We're gonna kind of see how we want to blend that. You can also lower the opacity of the brush, because the layer mask layer will also detect grayscale. So white is completely seen, black is completely invisible, and as it goes from black to lighter gray to white, it becomes more visible. So it does recognize transparencies. So you can, less strong stamping is basically what it does. Alright, you got to blend out. See, so it's not so bad. That's perfect. You go back up to your mountains. Let's see what we got here. Way too big, that's what we got. And you could also, a lot of times I place my mountains first and then I go through blending. I didn't this time, but usually I do mountains first and then I can kind of blend things together after that. Because a lot of biome switches happen over mountain ranges or land features. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Oh, here we go, here we go. Do I like this? Not so bad. I don't know. See, and then also too, let's say that I want to, this middle part of the mountain range, but when I put it here, it's bleeding over this top part, and I don't want that. You can make a new layer on top of this, the mountains that you're doing, and let's say that I just want that bottom section. What I could do is I could place it, hop to the eraser, and get rid of all of that up top. Now I just have my bottom portion of that asset. So, yep, you can do stuff like that. Let's go back to the shrublands layer mask. Let's try to blend this a little better. I didn't have my brush selected. There you go, that's a pretty decent blending. And I'm erasing right here, so you can see a little bit more of the desert underneath. A pretty decent looking blend there. Not bad, not bad at all. You could take, a sandy kind of something and put it right here. Give it a little bit more life in this valley. If you put like some temperate in there. But essentially, yeah, this is kind of how, this is basically it to my workflow. It's not anything too crazy complicated once you get the hang of layer mask. But all I'm really doing the entire time is layer mask, soft brush, a little blending brush like this forest brush, which just to show what that looks like, we'll just paint it there. That full opacity, it looks like this. That's that blending brush that's giving that pattern that you see kind of on the edges here and right here. But yeah, that's it. Pretty simple. Once you kind of get the flow of the different techniques, it'll become faster and faster and faster. So now let's bring in a more sandy kind of desert tile. And again, I'm just dragging from my browser as the folder of all these tiles in them. That looks good. Put it there. Let's apply myself a layer mask. Control click my landmass. Go back to my layer mask tab. Make sure you got brush selected. White. And then there we go. We're painting. Simple as that. Let me go back to the mountain one. Mountain layer. Let's see. Maslow's cliffs. We got dry lakes. What we got here? Let's try some stuff. Oh, that's crunchy. Oh, that's super neat. I like this one. One of my favorites. I'm actually gonna do this on this another layer. So a third layer here. Because I want to get it, stamp it a couple times, but lower the opacity a little bit. Maybe to 80. That's good. Switch to my eraser tool because some dark edges along the outside I want to clean up a little. In fact, you know what? Let's get rid of this whole inside part of the asset. That way it kind of slopes down, turns into more of a cliff. That's pretty nifty. And in that cliff, let's do something cool in this lower part here. What can we do? Do I want to do Badlands in there? I don't know. I don't think so. Usually it's like drier, so you know what? Let's try this. Maybe another hard pan looking desert land. Let's try this one. So temporarily what I'm going to do, okay, there we go. All right, so make sure to place that layer at the top. I had to drag it down below my mountain so I could see here. I don't know if I like that. Let me try adding a new saturation filter on here. I want to play around with this a little bit, see what we can get. Yeah, something like that. And I want that color difference because let's combine those. I'm going to apply the layer mask here. Switch to my brush. A little soft brush here, a little smaller. I'm gonna decrease the opacity. I switch between those two, those two all the time. So I pronounce it different, depending on my mood, I guess. But let's take some of this, fill this out with that texture there, kind of lighten the bottom. So that looks kind of neat. Maybe that was filled with water at some point in time. We could do too. I could extend it out over here. Go back to my layer that I put this dry lake bed in. Go to cliffs. I'll get that opacity back up to 100. Down. I don't like that cliff. Let's see. What's another one we could do? This one, this one, this one? That's facing the wrong way. Ah, here we go. We'll do. No, I need going. You know what? I'm gonna take a dry lake bed. I'm gonna take the same one, maybe. I remember which one it was. Oh, it wasn't that one. Which one was it? Zoom out so I can see. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I'll zoom back in. Make a new layer. I meant to select my control, select my landmass. Lower that down. There, okay, so I'll show you why I'm doing this here in a second. We're gonna, because I want this east side here, so we're gonna get rid of everything that is not that. There we go. Alright, let's hop back to this basin light desert. Back to my brush. Back to my soft brush. Switch to black. Let's get rid of that there. There we go. That looks better. There, yeah, so maybe that was filled with water at some point, which is why it's a little lighter, sandier, maybe. That works out good. Let's see. Oh, there's still some I need to erase. You can see it up here and over here. There, right there. That looks good. Passable, at least. For this tutorial, that'll work perfectly fine. But an interesting feature for sure. But, let's see. And then basically after I play around with all these layering of mountains, when I know that I'm good with it, I'll just select them all and combine them. Now we're down to one layer. And then, you know, I can put layers on top of it if I want to overlap and erase the parts that overlap. What shall we do? I don't know. let's get a lighter temperate zone. No, you know what? Let's go grasslands. Old white baby, grasslands. Deselect my landmass first. Let's do... Yeah, here we go. Do this one. So I want this one to be quite decent in size. Like right here. That's what I want. Now, let's go to my mountains. I kind of want some... In this empty section here, the grassland section, I think I want... some decent hills. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Alright, control click my landmass so I don't paint over my water. I know that lake is here. It kind of works. Good shape. It goes around the forest, kind of along the south shore of the lake. Yeah. That looks good. Alright, deselect my landmass. Now, make sure that you deselect your landmass. Make sure it's not selected when you do your layer filter, because I'll show you what happens. If you click your landmass and you have a selection anywhere on your canvas, when you click on your grassland here to do a layer mask, it will do the layer mask and it will only apply to what you have selected. So it kind of, yeah, it just it messes things up, kind of throws you off a little bit. So I make sure that we are completely deselected. And then you apply your layer mask. And then before you start painting, you select your landmass. And of course, I forgot to make that black, so let's do that. Oh, hey, better. Now select my landmass, go back to painting. Go back to my light brush, and here we go. Or soft brush, I should say. Yeah. That looks pretty good. Let's get rid of these hard edges. Nice little blend there. In fact, let's do my texture brush. And I really can't believe how useful this this texture brush is. It's so versatile. So very neat. And this is just with one. Like, you know, can you imagine how much more variety you'd have if I had like multiple of these brushes? There. That's a pretty decent blend. Yeah, okay, let me increase the opacity. kind of a good blend into those hills. To erase. Oh, that's juicy. Juicy, juicy. Looks good. Make the brush do a little bit on the inside here, more, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I like it like that. I like it like that. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Pretty neat. And then we just keep on trucking along with this grassland. Deselect my landmass. Let's bring in another grasslands. Bring it up. Plug it in here. Read my layer mask. Select my landmass. Hop back to my white brush and start plugging away. And that's only 53% right there, so you could do that, you know, paint around half opacity and then just keep painting over when you want it to be darker. Typically, I just leave it at 100 and then I go play around with the edges. There we go. That's pretty good. Let's do some more mountainy things. I know, I'm not paying any attention to like the way that my mountains are facing or moving. This really is just about technique. I'm not caring so much about accuracy. This is all pure aesthetic. I'm not a geologist. I don't plan to be one. That looks pretty decent. Something nice and harsh, kind of getting into like a northern zone. This is all very like condensed too. Typically these biomes wouldn't be so small and translating or transitioning so quickly. I mean, I don't know what the scale is on this. I'm just, again, this is all aesthetics just to show technique, but we're gonna do that. And then let's do a go into like a swampland. That seems fun. Who doesn't like swampy? Ta-da! Swampy. Although I don't know. Swampy to grassland? Okay, sure. Works for me. Apply my layer mask. Boom. Select my landmass. And go brushing. With the... What the heck? Let's start with our combined brush. Oh, look at that. So pretty. So pretty. Let's just go to the soft brush. Oops. You can't really see the mountains through there so much, so I think I might do is something like that. Maybe it's more marshy, close to the water. That kind of makes sense. Now we're gonna hop into, or switch to black here. Increase the opacity. I want to get rid of it a little bit over some of the more mountainy areas. I don't know how I'm liking this. I don't know that I'm liking it all that much. I might have to do some hardcore fixing. See if I can fix it with some of this textured brush here. Well, that turned out okay. Where does this end? Oh, it ends up there. Okay. Okay, I see. Let's go back to the grassland layer mask underneath. We want to paint some more to make sure that brown is all filled out. Whoa! Didn't have my landmass selected. See what happens when you don't do that? Maybe I'll put the grass over. Oops, wrong one. Grassland over top. We'll work it that way. 140%. Why am I zoomed in so much? Okay. Let's try this. That might be the better way to go. Yeah, I think that's a better way to go. Oh, that doesn't look so bad there. Okay. I can handle that. That's looking a little better. We got thick green pockets of whatever kind of land this is. And then darker pockets. Alright, I kind of dig that. Let me see. Just do my eraser tool here. We'll do soft. brush. Whoa, way too big. It's crazy. On this mountains layer, because there is this swampy, rivery texture, or part of this tile that I want to show up. But I think I need to... Well, first let's reveal it. I gotta find out where it's at on this texture. So we're painting some white. Oh, there. Where is it? And I'm gonna undo what I'm doing here. I'm just looking for that. Oh, it's hidden so well behind the... Oh, so the mountains. Anyways, back to the mountains. I want to... Whoa! I want a brush, not an eraser. There we go. Now I got my eraser. I kind of want to erase the mountains right through here. And through here. Maybe some over here. There, it's looking... That looks a little better. Okay, back to my layer masking. And you know, you could hide and reveal. Oh, see, there's white here, so I obviously had painted on an actual texture tile instead of a layer mask, which is how that white got there. I don't know which layer that's from. Oh, it was actually on the landmass that I painted that white. So let's fix that, I guess. There, I'll just brush that in there. The landmass is all covered up anyways by these tiles. Okay. Oh, there's what I wanted. It's this little part right here. So I need to hide. Yeah. That's what I wanted to get. Perfect. Okay, so let's get back to work. Yeah, yep, that's what I wanted. And just like that. So pretty. Then, here we go, let's touch up this area. Go to my foresty brush assist. Let's drop the opacity a bit. It's a pretty decent blend, I think. Right? Don't y'all agree? I agree. I agree with myself a lot. Whoa. think we're getting there. I think we're getting there. Slowly but surely, yo. Okay. There we go. Sorry, I'm not doing quite so much talking right now because, well, workflow. It's alright, I'll play some awesome background music that'll put you all to sleep. That looks pretty good. I like that. I like that a lot, I think. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. Gotta touch up this little bit over here. Make that disappear. Alright, so now let's do more. Do more. More better. I have some like northern tundra-ish. You know, maybe let's get into some snow. We'll touch on some of that. This is where kind of I got that brush, texture brush from that I've been using to blend. Oh, there we go. Alright, we're gonna need 2 tiles for here. Let's do this one first. I'm actually gonna do something a little bit different here. So I brought in that one. I'm gonna bring in this one. Gonna down here. Over that part. And then I'm going to bring in this one for this northern corner up here. And then I'm going to take all 3 of those, make them into one. So they're all together. Actually, whoa, that was silly. Before I do that, I need to make sure that I softened and blend these edges. So I'm gonna get a little bit destructive. I'm actually using the image here to rasterize those. Or rasterize, not rasterize. Go with an eraser. There, that'll work for now. Now we'll combine all those. Then we'll apply a layer mask. Then we'll select our land mass. And we'll start working. Doo -doo 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 -doo. I mean, that's already not horrible. Yeah, I don't like this very visible line right there, so I'm gonna end up doing another mask on top of that. That's not too bad. Get some texture going here. There we go. Back to paint. White and yeah, it's decent enough. A pretty good blend. And then, you know, you could put a mountain range right in through here. Kind of tighten that up, but I think that looks all right. Okay, so let's go back and let's fix this northern part here. Oops. And to grab this, rotate it, stick it right there. Buy ourselves a layer mask, select our land mask, and start painting again. I mean, yeah, like totally. That's good. Decent enough. I mean, this transition on this mountain actually looks pretty bad. I mean, boy, what can we do with that? I have an idea though. Let's see. How high does this? Oh, it goes up high enough. Okay. The swamplands here. Let's fill that out. And go back to this mountain layer here. Let's do something about this. Zoom out so I can see which brush I'm running through. There we go. This is what we're looking for right here. Zoom back in. Whoa! Let's get our color back to black and white. It's dark. That's pretty good though. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna take an eraser tool. Go about 25% opacity and kind of lighten up the side here. It's pretty decent. And then you got a little pass coming right through here. That's not bad at all. what it looked like all said and done. It needs a lot of work, I'll be honest, but you know, you're gonna clean that up with when you're doing your map and doing all this blending, which is what this tutorial was about, is the blending. You're gonna probably have your mountains already placed, which will help you decide where your blends are. I mean, we could take this and make do with it, but there's still a lot of things that can be done. Make this look better, and it'd probably be with just the mountain assets at this point. Select my landmass, but just some simple little land features will make it look super awesome. And I'm just playing around right now, seeing what we could do to. And we could put that right here and put like a whole ice shelf up there. If you wanted to. I like the opposite of this basin down here. But let's go up to some of these low hills. I mean, even something as simple as that. Well, you know, changes everything. I think I have some low hills that are a little more desert-like. Or mild land textures, I'd have to find them. That's not bad. A quick work of this. Maybe it's under Maslow's land textures 2. Here we go. Let's do this. Ah, there you go. So that's what you can do. Give some nice texture there. Flip over to the eraser tool. Get rid of it down in here. There, so just that's how simple and easy those land texture brushes, tiles, symbols, whatever are. I mean, you can paint a whole swath of land and just completely change, like, add texture to like a whole entire biome essentially, which is kind of neat. I mean, look, before and after. Yeah, let's drop the opacity a little bit too strong. And then you can just delete the parts. Like, I didn't want it so much over in this area because we have some mountain texture there, and I want some of this tile texture to show through, but right over in here it looks good. And we can do better blending around here. This isn't the best blending, but the cool thing is, you know, you do a first pass like this, and then you can come through in areas that you want to, you know, better transition to. And we'll go ahead and do that actually. Let's get a shrubby, really shrubby brushland. Here we go. This one was good. You're very pixelated. You gotta shrink those up and make them look a lot better. Let's try right there. Layer mask. Select my landmass. Back to my little soft brush here. It's not too bad there. A little better blending. Not perfect, but you know, what can we do? It's a tutorial. A little lighter on the opacity, a little smaller. Not too bad. That looks a little better. But there you have it. That is how I do my blending. That is how I use my layer mask. That is how I use my tiles. That is how I use my brushes. And that is basically how I make my maps. All trial and error, all playing around. Ooh, that wasn't too bad. Click, click, click. Adds a lot of deep rivers with that texture. What else we got? More rivers. It's a quick way to add some rivers, I guess, if you want to add some rivers. Just do it on its own layer, and then you can erase the parts that in the areas that you don't want. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think we're done here. I think I showed off enough where people get the idea. And then it's easy to go from there. Alright, that about wraps it up. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I know it's been a long one. Hopefully you've learned a few techniques that will help you push out maps so good that your family members will stop treating them like a finger painting from a toddler. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and if you want to see this channel grow, click that subscription button. If you want to get your hands on those mountain brushes I was using in this video and further support the CG2A, there's a link to the Patreon in the description below. And if subscription models are not your thing, don't worry, I got you covered. You can pick up the pack of 160 texture tiles from the Gumroad store, also in the description below. And make sure you keep an eye on that Gumroad store as it will be growing. I'm going to be throwing all of my asset packs up on there for the a la carte style. You can pick and choose which ones you want, which ones you don't want, and avoid subscriptions altogether. And with that, I bid you all farewell. Happy map making, everybody. I'm out.